Welcome to episode 4 of the Texas Porch, Texas talk with a touch of sports. We hope you are safe, socially distant, and quarantined out there. This will be one of those shows where we finally touch the sports base, at least some. First, little housekeeping. Housekeeping is also the pronunciation mentioned. It will always be a massive help to us if you subscribe to the podcast, including you two guys. YouTube guys. You get the episodes sooner, helps out our numbers, and the plan is to have them in your phones and on our website super early on Thursdays. And it's pandering, yes, but if you can, rate us 5 stars in Apple Podcasts. That's huge, huge, huge as well. And help out the Underdog Facebook. They need some likes. You can like our Facebook page, The Texas Porch, as well. In what will be a regular segment each week, this week in Texas sports and history will be coming back. Rave reviews from these surveys we did on week 1 last week, but that's usually towards the end of the show. If this is the first episode that you've tuned in, that is just A-okay, but basically I am JP Heath. I made my way partially through this world broadcasting sports. Really cool gig. Shout out Rice Owls, but in due time we'll talk about some of my other interests. But my college buddies, longtime friends as well, get together, talk about anything and everything for them, again them, Kevin. Outlandish claims, but many laughs, stories. This podcast is just that. But if you don't like to laugh or take yourself just a little too seriously, this one might not be for you. We're all from the great state of Texas, but so even if you somehow don't know this is the greatest state, we'll still let you listen. But even if you're not a native Texan, but got here as fast as you could, we'll still let you listen. And even if you don't acknowledge that Robert Earl is the greatest singer-songwriter, we'll still let you listen. But now that we are all here together, can I ask you a question?
Oh, did you want to have a podcast here?
I do. Who is your electric provider? That's why I've got you all here tonight.
Our first commercial.
We got a sponsor.
I know Josh appreciates that reference too, because someone still owes him $230. Is that true, Josh?
It's not that exact amount. It's a little bit more, but we'll save the details of that for some time.
Okay. The get to know
Sounds
Josh.
like a criminal proceeding testimony here.
Well, it's been awkward. We're not multi-level.
About the energy provider.
We're not multi-level marketing guys, but it's been a while since there's been the latest craze, right? They owe Josh $230, but anyway. So today is $250. That's right. I keep reducing it more and more. But so now that we have you all here, no, I am not going to pitch you my latest energy scheme, but we're going sportsy tonight, gentlemen. But I saw this earlier today on the Twitter. Whoa, there you go. Blame the DJ. And this, none of y'all, I don't think have heard this. Josh, maybe an outside chance, but this is Marc Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans. He gave me express permission to use this. He just texted me out of the blue today. He said, "Hey, JP, will you please put this on your podcast? Please." Y'all believe me or not?
He needed the advertising for the...
Yeah.
What is it up to now? Thousands, or are we talking millions here?
Well, he's got like 40-something thousand Twitter followers, but yeah, we're in the millions, clearly.
No one cares about that. I'm talking about ours. Our following is massive.
I felt like a nerd, but I did text him and I said, "Hey, can I play this?" And this is the Quarantine Blues from voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. Gave me a giggle.
I got those quarantine blues. When they'll end, I don't know. No sports are on the TV, and they're starting to gamble on cooking shows. I'm starting to feel naked without a mask over my mouth and nose. When this all got started, I thought it might fade away. Now no sports, no bracketology, not even a pro day. I got those quarantine blues, and I'm stuck inside my room. Took me about 3 days, how to figure out how to unmute my mic on Zoom. What I wouldn't give right now to watch a game from the bleachers, but I'm trapped inside my house being a bad substitute teacher. I got those quarantine blues. My life isn't what it used to be.
Shout out to the parents.
Not when the most exciting thing I do is take a trip to HEB. We're huddled around the TV watching a man with a tiger zoo. I've gained a dozen pounds because I haven't worked out since day 2. I've got those quarantine blues, and I'm getting kind of grouchy. Starting to dread the afternoon reports with President Trump and Dr. Fauci.
Shout out, Mitch.
I really need a vacation, would like to go to the Bahamas, but I'm here in my house doing conference calls in my pajamas. I got those quarantine blues. Got to accept it, what the heck. Just biding my time, waiting for that stimulus check.
Yeah, baby.
Can we get through this fast? You know, that's all I'm asking. And by the way, while we're at it, when are they going to charge Carol Baskin? I got those quarantine blues. When they'll end, I don't know. Can't wait for football when I can get back to saying rock and roll.
It's his catchphrase. So, what do you think?
Nice.
That's good stuff. Nail on the head right there. So relatable.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It gave me
That was great.
out loud giggles, so had to share it with the masses and my buddies out here on the Texas Porch. But
How crazy is it that we all so this Tiger King, no sports, we all have the same, we're all thinking the same exact things, basically.
can we have a quick vote? Out of all of us, who is the most likely to become Joe Exotic? Would that be Kevin? Have we all seen Tiger King?
I'm from Quinlan.
Yeah.
That's very Oklahoman. Quinlan's somewhat Oklahoman, no?
No, Quinlan's all Quinlan.
That's what I meant. Yeah, when I said
By
that.
the
that's what
way,
I meant.
and I'm from Quinlan. I was raised in Quinlan, and everybody from Quinlan can make Quinlan jokes too, but y'all can't. See, that's how it works.
I understand. No, but see, I'm from Commerce, so I can make all the Quinlan jokes I want.
I'm with that guy there. Whatever he said, I like that. Lamar, have you seen
Cash? That's a worse place.
Actually, it's all West Tawakoni, man.
Oh,
None
yeah,
of it's
Cash.
Quinlan or Cash or any of that. It's all West Tawakoni.
Lamar,
Tawaka, as my great grandfather always called it.
Lamar and Paul, have y'all seen Tiger King?
I have not. It's
Okay.
on the docket. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm trying to weed my way through Ozark season 3 first, and then I'm headed for Tiger King, I suppose.
Okay.
How's
Yeah,
Ozark?
It's good. It's really good. So I saw the first season, and then they had a second season. I don't know how long ago, but I didn't have Netflix for a few years, so I just didn't ever catch up. But I'm enjoying my 30-day trial, so I'm gonna use it to its fullest.
You got to binge Tiger King. Got to do that.
Yeah, that's next.
Okay.
It's good. It is fantastic. I like this one meme I've seen on Facebook. It was any Walking Dead fans out there. You had the king or whatever, the man with the dreadlocks and the tiger and the Walking Dead. He's very regal looking, He's the king. It's like, this is the apocalypse we envisioned. And this is the one we got with Joe Exotic on his busted ass throne on the middle of a pile.
So Paul, Lamar, you haven't seen it. Josh, have you?
I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
We watched it
JP,
one night.
you have?
Yeah, the wife turned it on to me. We watched it in about 3 or 4 days. I'd say last week. All the days and weeks run together.
Yeah.
So how about on a sports podcast, or at least a Texas podcast with a touch of sports, we actually get on the sports page. Any and all contribute, but I saw this and just the general scope of the show each week. We're not going to break down box scores necessarily, but some big stories. And if the games ever do come back, I know we'll eventually talk about some games and then expand, maybe do some different days of the week where we just focus on one thing or two. But anyway, I say all that to tell you that we just heard from the great Marc Vandermeer, but kind of sticking on the NFL front. But from Tim Kalishaw on the Dallas Morning News, Cowboys season ticket holders were told this week that while the team understands their concerns during this difficult time, that whole worldwide pandemic we're going through, that the season ticket holders have until May 1st to pay in full for 2020 or forfeit their seat licenses.
Wow.
So, obviously jumps out at you. it's a little sensational in the headlines because you go on. I read one article that referred to another, but Clarence Hill, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, said that the Cowboys are open to working with season ticket holders who need an alternative. So that's not in Kalashaw's piece, but makes for a great column. Nothing against Kalashaw. He's one of the greats. But then there was an email from the team that I'll get to in a little bit that shed some more context. But my closest Cowboys buddies I'll tune to first here, at least on the show, Kevin and Josh.
Yeah.
Not surprising. And two, what are they thinking?
I mean, I think the Cowboys are thinking it's business as usual, right?
And that's a problem. Yeah.
A great deal of these season ticket holders, I mean, you have to have some assets to be buying season tickets, to be spending that much money on football games. Now, the issue I think where it comes in is you have like a lot of small and medium businesses that'll buy season tickets, and then maybe they'll give it as tickets to a game as rewards to some of their employees and stuff. And those are the ones that I think would be hit by this. But if you're an individual and you're popping out that kind of money, I mean, you didn't lose, quote unquote, your job. I mean, something might have tanked in the stock market for you, but that's all kind of just moving around money into different accounts and things like that. It's really, you've still got that money. It's those small businesses where this was actually a sacrifice for them.
That's the whole thing. It's the PR of it, and it doesn't look great at all when your whole surrounding area is going through this, your state, your nation's going through this, and here you're, again, richest guy in Dallas, what did I hear this morning, is putting his hand out again, trying to bleed the fans dry even more. It didn't ring to me the right way.
I guess when you say the fans, I'm like, season ticket holders for Dallas Cowboys season tickets ain't necessarily the fans. I mean, that's people with a little bit of money. That's not your everyday Joe. That's not somebody working at Walmart right now through this. That's not somebody that just lost their job.
Sing it, brother.
A great segue because
this is rich people dealing with rich people. So
not necessarily, because you led perfectly into my next point, Josh. I think the one member of our crew that has actually been a season ticket holder for any team. A, what'd you think about that? And two, as a former season ticket holder, you just sound outraged. I can hear you across town right now. You're just outraged.
You know me well. Well, all they're thinking is if they don't buy their season tickets, somebody else is going to, because they got it there. And newsflash, Jerry Jones doesn't really care about PR. So that's where that comes from. Fully transparent. I had season tickets back when they were at Texas Stadium. That's all it is. He knows that somebody's going to pay for them. It doesn't matter if they're the current people or they are new ones that are waiting to get season tickets. So that's their mindset, and they don't care if they got to face a little public backlash. So go ahead and do this.
Lamar, Paul, others, is this reek of tone deafness? Do you care one way or another? I know you still have the Cowboys on your pennants in your walls at home, but what do you think? Or do you care?
Man, I think it seems really crazy to me that they're expecting that much shelling out of money right now for something that, I mean, who knows if it's going to happen in the fall? We may get to this later, but we're still in the category of, is this going to even happen? Is you going to be able to use that seat? And I'm sure in that case, there would be some sort of discount or whatever, or refund, but it just seems really a strange time to be demanding money. Now, I know they got to do business, but they got a couple billion sitting around that'll probably keep them in pretty good shape for a while. The Jones family is not going to be hurting.
No, probably not. No.
I mean, not by any. Yeah, sure, they lose more money than most of us make all put together in one day, in a bad turn in the economy. But yeah, it just seems just a little off-putting. Now, knowing Cowboys fans as we know them, when he opened the new stadium and Arlington paid for it, and then they asked for incredible seat licenses and all that stuff, there are still going to be plenty of people that line up to cut that check whenever they ask for it.
Wasn't it $250,000 to get the seat
ridiculous.
license to begin with? So
$125 a seat, I think.
I mean, I think that's why Josh doesn't have season tickets now. That's the whole thing. He's a real American.
I was crossed out long before that.
There you go. Yeah.
What do you think, Lamar? I guess you were kind of out on them a while back anyway, but I guess it wouldn't surprise you so much.
No, not so much. I think it's the Joneses being the Joneses. They don't seem to care about certain moral and ethical issues or PR hits like this. But I mean, in the current day with the news cycle and the way the entertainment industry is viewed, it's status quo really. But
Mhm.
I feel a little bit on the outer rungs of things sometimes whenever I talk about it, because the general public doesn't seem to bat an eye at some of those things.
Texas ties in the Basketball Hall of Fame class. Now, it's pretty unstable how they do this. First of all, the guys and the women that were, as they're not inducted, I guess it's just announced, but Tim Duncan, 5 titles, 3 finals MVPs, another pod later, number 1 power forward of all time, perhaps. Rudy Tomjanovich, a couple NBA titles. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion, all that. Kim Mulkey, the Baylor great coach. Duncanville's Tamika Catchings. So unstable to have an active coach in there in Mulkey, but I don't see why you don't wait a little bit. But she's deserving now. I mean, winning 3 titles, of course, but Rudy T and Catchings and others as well. But, I mean, Popovich, he's declined to go in. Greg Popovich, Spurs coach, has declined to go in for, the last 10 inductions or so. But anyway, saw that Texas flavor in the Basketball Hall of Fame class. And I had forgotten this, but
why did he decline?
because I think the whole thing, it's unstable. Like, you shouldn't have an active coach in one Hall of Fame.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair. So that's his personal choice. That dude's cool.
yeah.
I know as a Mavs fan, I'm supposed to hate the Spurs, but man, that's really tough.
Yeah, you just can't hate Popovich.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do.
But I had forgotten this story before the show. But Josh, you have a Rudy T story. I only remember that you had one, but I couldn't remember exactly what it is. So what perfect time than now to unveil it in the middle of a worldwide pandemic?
Well, it's really random. It has nothing to do with basketball, but it was back, I guess about 97 or 98. He was still the Rockets coach, not long after their championships. And I went to the Renaissance Festival with my girlfriend at the time, which is, it's around the Houston area. And we're just sitting there kind of starting the day and talking about where to go. And I don't see it, but she points at somebody and she says, "Man, that guy is tall." And so I turn around, and there's Rudy Tomjanovich in like full Renaissance garb, like full medieval palm.
Oh, that is
Awesome.
so awesome.
Just sitting there, and she's like, and she had no idea who it was. I mean, we'd been dating for forever, and you'd think she'd know at least recognize him. But I was like, "Yeah, that's Rudy Tomjanovich. That's the coach." And there's some kids asking for autographs, and I didn't go up. Maybe I should have, but that was just so random that he was sitting there, and I don't know if he was being paid to be there or just enjoying the day, but he didn't have just a huge crowd around him. But yeah, full medieval garb and just enjoying the day out in Houston, I guess.
Hey, Kevin, wasn't friend of the podcast, Pat, wasn't he a big Renaissance Fair guy? And
Oh yeah,
didn't you
there
go to
was
one?
A group of us all were. Yeah.
Okay.
Going to Scarborough Fair, which their season got canceled this year as part of the coronavirus, quarantine stuff. But yeah, going out. I don't think Pat ever dressed up to go out to Scarborough.
I couldn't see that.
Going out there. Yeah, he's not much of a dresser upperer. Is that how you say that? I don't think that's the proper term.
It is now. On Texas news, obviously a lot to get to with the pandemic, but some updated Texas COVID numbers. 178 deaths. And this is where, Mitch, you can hold my podcast hand as well, because you are media crazy, man. You love that. You love the late breaking news.
Fake news media.
That too. That too. But 178 deaths in Texas from the coronavirus. And this is as of about, I'd say, 8:15 or so on Wednesday night, which unfortunately it's sure to go up some, but it looks like that we have kind of stabilized things in Texas. 9,487 cases in Texas, that according to the great site. I don't know if y'all have looked at that site, but Worldometers.
Yes. Great site for coronavirus stuff.
Texas is 14th in new cases. We're now 6th in total tests. So, the Mitcher, are we
Really, 6. So total, like meaning we have the 6th most tests in the
Yeah.
United States.
That's how I read it. They had a little block where you
Yeah.
could put them in descending and ascending order. And so I took
Now, I
that.
wonder if that's the top, the most numbers of tests or the highest rate, because that would be a big difference.
Right. Yeah, it makes a big difference because if it's just the numbers,
If
the
just
pure
numbers, obviously they should be third.
To answer part of that, it is numbers on the chart. I mean, kind of production on the fly. I don't have that tab open up on my luxurious iPad here, but I know it was they had total numbers there. But I thought that was
Yeah, it's kind of weak sauce. I mean, let's
Better.
see what the rate is. I think there's not too many hot spots in Texas, so I don't hear of any testing going on anywhere. It's just
and I saw that the total that the number of cases in Texas is expected to peak April 19th.
which to me sounds like that's good news because
Yes.
Texas hadn't had a huge outbreak. It certainly hadn't been a Washington State or a New York City, type hotspot. So if we're going to peak in, 9 or 10 days, then that's not too bad for us.
I agree. That's very good, especially with an international airport like DFW here.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like just the sequence of everything over the last 4 weeks, we were able to get ahead of it just by location. I mean, yes, we're a
Right.
international hub, but we are in the middle of the country.
Mhm.
We're not on the coasts, which everything seems to be, amplified on the coasts. But we're kind of dead center in the middle of that for the most part, and it feels like we had a little more time to prepare. Again, I
Yep.
still think there's folks in rural areas that are not probably complying. I've heard some crowdsourcing reports of basically ignoring the entire thing.
The show is
Yeah.
reporting that. I will go on record saying
Yeah.
small
It's
town
just-
Texas does not give one flying crap about the coronavirus, unless my other small town bunkmates disagree with me. Josh, what do you think? I know it's your favorite topic of the day. Josh,
I won't disagree with you at all.
yeah, Josh has to go up to work and he hears it 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day.
But I mean, let's be honest. How many really, really small towns have this huge coronavirus outbreak? I would imagine even a small town in East Texas or West Texas, if they had a couple cases, well, I'm sure everyone would lock down. But the fact is that it's pretty tough for this virus to get in those remote areas.
We
Yeah.
got 15 here.
I thought it was 18 earlier.
Is it 18? Did it go up? It was 15 whenever I left work, so maybe we added a few
Now, in
We've got-
where?
in Lufkin,
In Lufkin. Well, I mean, I wouldn't consider that small
in
town.
Angelina County.
Right. We have 18 in Hunt County. Last I checked, I think that was the check earlier today.
Yeah.
They give the updated news each day around noon. Hunt County updates it.
That seems pretty good for Hunt County.
Yeah, and a lot of Hunt County is rural. Most of the cases are in Commerce and Greenville, and Commerce. I think part of that is being a university town.
College town. Yep.
Yeah, so you have people that have
And
been
then you have the county
traveling.
seats. So people
spring
in
break.
Greenville, they work in Dallas and stuff like that. So
Right. And the largest town, I mean, the
Yeah.
higher concentration of people you get, that's why you look at New York, That's, I think, the major reason for that,
Of course.
and being the epicenter, is the major concentration of people.
So what do we have now? 26 million in Texas. I should know this. Hosting a Texas podcast. What do you think?
It's something like that.
Okay.
27 maybe?
Yeah.
I'm
So
going to go with 28.7 million as of the 2018 census, but that's just a full guess.
just off the top of your head, right? Out of those roughly now 29 million, let's say, would you say, I'd say 12 million are not heeding any examples, or is that way too high because they're being forced by, I guess, most counties? That's something I didn't look up before we started recording, but like 254 counties in Texas, how many actually have certain orders? Because Texas is one of those, 11 states that, and I get why, not harping on great Governor Abbott, but I just don't think there are a lot of people complying across the state, as many as we think, because we get the big city publication a lot there, but I digress. Thoughts?
I'm going to say that Texas is a little bit more than that, a little bit more than. I'm going to say that more Texans are taking it seriously than that.
I agree.
And all of the cities are under stay-at-home orders, and then you have suburbs like Rockwall County, Collin County, Tarrant County, and I believe all of them are under stay-at-home orders too. So I bet you get 70% of Texans that are heeding health experts' advice.
Well, I think that if left to their own devices, it might be as high as that 12 million you're talking about, JP. But people aren't really left to their own devices, so I tend to agree with Mitch. Maybe 1 out of 10 people, maybe 10% or less. And you may have certain groups of people running around, but their mom's going to slap them, or their grandma or somebody, and go, "Shut up, stop doing that. No, you wear this mask," and they're going, "All right, gosh darn it, dirt, because they're going to listen to their mama.
Yep. Not to get too political, but obviously, your city folks are going to heed the advice, high population density areas. But then your rural folks, a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, President Trump he gave an Oval Office address. He started saying we needed to stay at home, so he really got behind the whole messaging thing from the CDC. So, and, in the rural areas, which are, very, very supportive of Trump, they probably, took his advice too. So I think you have pretty high percentage.
Also, I think the X factor is there's a whole bunch of people that might otherwise, think it was some sort of hoax or, fake news or whatever. But given a couple of days off, they're going to go hunting and fishing and get away from everybody. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's their preferred way of life anyway.
That social distancing works for them.
Exactly. I mean, they're like, "Nah, I'm going to be around people. I'm going to go fishing."
Yeah, I just, I feel like that's about right. I mean, show of hands in the room. I mean, the rooms were all separated by miles in distance, but who has ventured out into life when you've had to go out and about and actually worn a mask? I have not, I'll be honest.
No.
I
did
actually.
This past weekend. I had to go to the grocery store to get some stuff. I did wear a mask.
Okay.
And that
Good
was
job,
after the CDC had started doing it. And I had some masks like for painting or whatever, but they're surgical masks I'd ordered, a year and a half ago that I'd found. But yeah, I did wear a mask to hit the Walmart.
Nice.
I'm
Here in
struggling.
a couple episodes, we'll all be wearing masks.
Even during the show. No, I'm struggling, as you all know, but in my 4th or 5th job, I took a certain I think you all know this, a certain delivery job with a certain app, and I went back to our Mazio's pizza delivering days, Kevin and Lamar, and actually delivered a pizza with a mask on. And then
Nice.
and some other things as well, but it felt.
Did you do the contactless delivery where they just set it on the doorstep and they back up 10, 12 feet?
They'll message you and say, "Hey, Mitch wants it to be laid on the doorstep or whatever." And then, of course, it's awkward because you get that message late and you're handing it to somebody.
Oh, wait a minute. So what percentage of people are requesting that you leave it on the doorstep?
Well, it's a company mandate that you're not supposed to do it, but they still give you an option. Hey, do you want them to leave it on the doorstep? But I'm not a seasoned veteran yet in this particular app or trade, but it's good when you might need some extra funds, buddy. It's good.
Excellent.
All right, Lamar, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say there's some accidents that can happen with food delivery as well. We recently ordered in some burritos from a famous place. They brought the bag. We brought it in the house, looked inside, then realized it wasn't ours. Called the person. They brought our food. We handed that bag back to them.
Oh gosh.
And then we ate our food.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And how do you know that didn't happen to you once to your food once before already? Oh, that's scary.
It probably did.
There are a bunch of JPs out there delivering. It should be scary. It should be scary to many folks. All right. Having fun here. All right. This week in Texas sports history, fans emailed texasporchpod@gmail.com. They tweeted, they Facebooked, they really didn't all that, but they said, we've got to have another one of these back. So tail end of each show, we'll do this. But shout outs to courtesy of Texas State Historical Association and the Texas Sports History Twitter account for some of these notes. But not to bring up a bad memory, but Lamar, what were you doing 1 year ago tonight, April 8th of 2019?
What was I doing 1 year ago
A year
tonight?
ago?
I
Well,
forget. Go ahead.
Today's my wife's birthday, so we're probably out celebrating.
Okay. Texas Tech lost in overtime to Virginia in the men's national title game 1 year ago tonight.
So breaking news, Lamar is not a real Texas Tech fan.
More importantly, happy birthday.
Oh, well played.
Good
Very
save.
well played.
Yeah.
Good segue.
No,
good
JP,
segue.
what was the game?
Exactly. See? Surely you were glued to that, right? After,
No, I'm serious. What was the specific game?
I don't know, down set, your hut. You're going to draw me off sides. Texas Tech lost in overtime to Virginia in the men's national title game.
Oh, yeah, I was watching it.
Okay.
Oh,
News to
sports.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was absolutely elated to even get to the Elite Eight. So it was a crazy wild ride, and just grateful it happened. They seemed to turn it on late in games and made the right moves at the right times. But yeah, that Virginia game, that was a tough one, pal.
You never saw it.
It's because
No, they
your
were
pol-
behind and they came back and tied it and blew it in overtime.
politics
You
Mitch.
just read a story.
He's not sports Mitch. He's not sports Mitch anymore. So I had to get that one in. That was kind of last week, technically, but I saw that and I said, hey, I'm going to mention that. But April 9th, 1 year ago, the Dirkster Nowitzki announces his
Never heard that
retirement
nickname.
from the game of basketball and the NBA.
Not an official nickname.
Not official. Same day, 1978. So on Thursday, George Gervin scores 63 points, his final game of the regular season. The Iceman edges out David Thompson, one of the tightest contests NBA scoring crown in basketball history. Here's one for
JP,
you. Yes.
Can we talk? Let me ask a question about Dirk real quick.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure he's my favorite Dallas sports person of my lifetime. Is that controversial?
I don't think that's
No, not at all.
controversial.
You're not going out on a huge limb there. That's fine.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if you said like saying your favorite, a lot of people will go, "Oh yeah, I think they would agree with you." It's like he's definitely one of my favorites. If you said he's the greatest Dallas sports figure in the past, 40 years, you might have some controversy there. But
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Well, let me try to thread the needle there then, because yeah, he's my favorite too, but he's also maybe not the greatest, but the best human Dallas sports guy, like the most fun to follow the most, like Dirk Nowitzki. What's wrong with Dirk Nowitzki?
I mean, nothing. But you got a bunch of Pudge fans out there going to be taking
Yeah.
exception.
I detect a full podcast coming this when we probably will be scrambling for topics, but you talk about each area of the state. And for Dallas specifically, I mean, there's no doubt you could only really compare Dirk to Troy / Roger / Emmett / Michael.
Let's do it then, because I can shoot down some of these spares you're naming out. Okay, so let's do that.
So the one sport you follow, you're going to hone in on that argument. I see, but it's okay. Here's one.
I'm an expert.
Josh, April 9th of 1965, the Astros and Yankees play the first ever game in a dome stadium, an exhibition at the Astrodome.
Oh wow!
Nice.
My dad remembers it well.
That's cool.
So that was 30. Astrodome had a great shelf life, right? 30, should know this off the top of my head. 35 years? Was that Josh?
Oh,
That's
They were
it?
up until 2000. Yeah, they're up until 2000.
Okay.
It's easily the most celebrated like new build stadium ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going. That's along the lines of what I was going to ask, Mitch. Is that I mean, in Texas, the Astrodome, and our generation, you're like, the Astrodome. That's a thing. it's a thing. It's like
Yeah.
newfangled, it's like shiny and bright, it's different and not so different anymore, maybe. But was it like that around the rest of the country? Or the Astrodome? It's a thing.
It's the eighth wonder of the world, man.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely, because it was the first of its kind to open up,
Yeah.
and not like Globe Life Park that will not be having a game hosted in it the first year that they play. But anyway, that's yes, very, very wheels off there. Okay, why is this of note? April 9th, 1895, Howard Edward Butt is born in Memphis, Tennessee. He later found what grocery chain?
H-E-B.
Yes,
H-E-B?
sir. By the end
Market.
of the 20th century, and Paul, I'm glad you chimed in, because he's a Kerrville guy, and his family moved to Kerrville, and by the end of the 20th century, it was the largest privately owned grocery chain in the nation. I think we bought some particular beverages for a Robert Earl Keen concert last summer. Could that have been the
Topo
original
Chico
HEB?
was cold. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was good.
Wait. You said
Might have-
HEB was the number one something in the nation?
By the end of the 20th century, my sources tell me it was the largest privately owned grocery chain in the nation.
Wow. It's amazing.
So I guess
If
Walmart's
my
pub-
source. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go,
What was that?
you first.
I was say if my source is correct, my Kerrville native coworker tells me the one we visited is not the worst one in town, but it's also not the original. They have knocked all of the
Okay.
locations down more than once and replaced them
Oh,
as kind of the flagship store. The one we attended, well, let's just say it was interesting. So, but he said that's not the worst one in town. So,
So you're telling me that the B in HEB is butt?
That's what I'm seeing. Yes.
correct.
Get out of here.
Yeah. My grandmother always told me that. She lived in South Texas. Of course, we never had them up here. We only visited when we would go down there. And I just always, of course, as a kid, I thought that was hilarious, which is why she told me. She had a great sense of humor.
I don't know that I made it into an HEB store until I was like 25. Is that very un-Texan of me?
No, because like he said, it's more south. I think east.
Yeah.
We've got some here east, and obviously I think central, and then down around San Antonio, Kerrville. I don't know about west though, and deep
Well,
south.
Central
shows-
Market around
It shows
here
how,
is owned
how
by them.
untraveled we were.
Yeah.
I don't know when you go down and see when you like go down to Austin or point south and you see an HEB and you're from up here, you're like, what is that? No,
Yeah.
But it's like
that's
the
different. Where's a
go-to
where's a
place.
Brookshire's?
people swear by them. I mean, they're so loyal to HEB if you have one available to you.
Right.
Now up here we have Central Market that's owned by HEB, or at least it used to be.
Uh-huh.
But it's a little different. I guess they needed to find a different spin on things. But it's more like a Whole Foods or a Sprouts or something.
Big fan
Right.
of HEB. April
The
10th.
loyalty's funny.
It's what?
I was gonna say the loyalty's funny. I know someone in Fort Worth that will drive to Burleson to go to HEB
Yeah.
to shop for groceries.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I will tell you, things like that really make me wish there were one near where I live, though. I would love to be able to experience it on a regular basis if people love it that much.
Hey, Paul, I think the Bud or Bus family is still involved because I know someone who works the one in Fort Worth, and they said one of the relatives lives in a nice neighborhood not far from there, and he would pop in and
Mm.
talk
wow.
to people. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
There's your answer, Mitch. It is the Butts. April 10th, 1962, Major League Baseball comes to Texas as the Houston Colt 45s defeat the Cubs 11-2 in their franchise debut. Does your dad remember that one too, Josh? I guess that would have been in his wheelhouse, right?
Could have been 62. He'd be 7. So,
Huh.
yeah, he probably does.
For you Dallas folk out there, April 11th, 1921. I have not been here, but Majestic Theater opens in Dallas Friday, 1921.
So next year they're 100. That's interesting.
Mr. Math there, yeah.
Yeah, I can get to 100.
Mitch, didn't you see
Graduated the 6th grade.
Didn't you see Willie at Majestic, or is that not true?
No, I saw Willie at the House of Blues,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
did see. I did attend an event at the Majestic. It was a majestic place, dare I say?
Speaking of baseball in Texas, the ballpark in Arlington hosted its first regular season game April 11th of 1994. The Rangers took on the Brewers, and I'm sure they lost, right? I'm sure.
Know about that.
On Sunday,
How did anybody know that?
yeah, there's no way the internet has that information. Sunday, April 12th, 2015, Jordan Spieth led wire to wire. He won his first Masters, and the one quote-unquote golf aficionado on the show that at least knows a lot more than probably all of us combined, Lamar.
Mitch Leather. Oh, okay.
He won another one? Won a third one? Or not?
I don't know.
Okay. We are all about the information here. We've got to get the...
I thought this was an opinion show.
Yeah.
Well, what is your opinion? Did he win more or not?
He has won 2 majors, gentlemen.
7. I think he won 7. That's my
He
opinion.
won the Masters in 2015 and the U.S. Open in 2015.
You are on it tonight.
Okay.
Mitch, your good memory there. Also, April 12th, so coming up Sunday, anniversary, 1836, Santa Anna had the nerve to capture a key crossing off the Brazos. The Texan forces at Fort Bend and San Felipe. It's pronounced San Felipe, the street in Houston, so it could be San Felipe, but they were forced to abandon their defenses, join the rest of Houston's army in retreat. But you know what? The Texans did not turn on their pursuers until April 21st, when they destroyed Santa Anna's army at San Jacinto, Paul, where we
Come
just
and take him.
Boy, I tell
baby.
you what, Texas.
April 12th, 1879, Wheeler County became the first county formed in the Panhandle. You might have been to Wheeler County.
Amarillo?
Okay, that is Amarillo. Good. So I have been to Wheeler County.
I don't think so.
Shout out to Amarillo.
Lamar says, is that really not Wheeler County?
You're out there somewhere.
I've got to look it up now.
Just hold the show, everybody.
Pause for edit.
JP's Googling.
Wheeler, Shamrock. Yeah, I think Wheeler's pretty much the only thing. Just north of I-40 there. Wheeler County, West Texas guys. Is that accurate?
Sounds good.
Should know my Texas geography a lot better. And also, on April 13th, 1942, Byron Nelson. What? The name Byron Nelson?
Nothing. No. Go ahead.
Byron Nelson wins his second Masters tournament in an 18-hole playoff by 1 stroke over fellow Texan Ben Hogan. There is some Texas sports and history this week in Texas sports and history.
Excellent.
Gentlemen, I dare say we had another great show. Hope that your week finds you well.
Me too. I'm for it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's a good week.
I am for it as well. Y'all stay safe and COVID-free, hunker down out there. And remember that you can catch us on thetexasporch.com. Find us on Facebook, The Texas Porch, also Texas Porch Pod on Twitter as well. And don't forget that shameless plug for some likes. Have a great rest of this day or night, whenever you're tuning in. God bless. And talk to you next time out here on The Texas Porch. Smoother landing this time, Mitch. That was for you.
There you go.
Nice.
Keep in mind that JP is a giant. Okay.
Oh.
He's like, how tall are you, JP? 6'5"?
Big old kid. 6'5", yeah.
6'5"?
Big an old boy, are you?
Jackass.
This is all getting edited out, but go ahead.